Well, hey there, folks. Chuck here. I am off on another flea market extravaganza hunt. This time I'm trying a new one. There's a smaller flea market outside of Ocala called the I-75 Super Flea Market. It's got kind of mixed reviews. A lot of the reviews I've seen recently say that there's a lot of booths that are shuttered and it's not that big, but there's a bunch of used stuff. And where there's used stuff, there's usually diecasts. So join me, won't you? And be sure to stick around because I got a special guest that I think you're going to want to see.
When people think of Florida, some think of sunny beaches, mouse-themed tourist traps, and some weird approximation of whatever they think Miami is. Others think of alligators, unbearable humidity, and Florida man stories. As a sixth-generation Floridian, I can confidently say that North Central Florida comes by that latter stereotype honestly. That being said, there's a lot to love about this part of the third largest state in the Union. If you're into tiny cars, there's a lot of good hunting to be had, especially if you're a customizer looking for some not-so-perfect vintage pieces to add to your collection. Flea markets can be really hit or miss when it comes to seeking out good deals, and some have a better reputation than others. Marion County, just south of me, has several large flea markets. On this particular day in October of 2021, I was going to see two of them. One I'd visited previously, one I hadn't. First, the appropriately named I-75 Flea Market in Ocala, and hoo boy, even for a flea market, it was depressing. Over half the booths were tarped up, and those that weren't didn't seem that interested in making a sale. I want to cut him some slack, say maybe it was a bad day or I was too early, but it was after 9 a.m., and if the reviews on Google are to be believed, this isn't an unusual state for the market. I did see a cool El Camino though.
Well, sleepy is a good way to describe that flea market. It looks like it could be lively, but yeah, a lot of blue tarps, a lot of people not open, which is surprising because usually you think flea markets would be rolling pretty early, but people sure were taking their time getting ready to sell in there. So don't know what I missed out on, but there were a few booths that had some interesting stuff. So now we're going to go meet my special guests and see what we can find over at Market of Marion. So stick around.
I couldn't stay long because I was meeting up with my best buddy Adam and his wife Jordan, patrons of the channel, thank you very much, at Market of Marion in Bellevue. Market of Marion is much larger and much more populated, and I knew from experience the selection would be exponentially better. It's the best hunting of its kind in North Central Florida outside of Webster, but we'll get to that in another episode. Adam and Jordan had never been to Market of Marion before, and I was pleased to take them to all my favorite spots while Adam graciously filmed my antics. Again, remember this was late 2021, and even flea market folks were still wearing masks. Not a car person herself, even Jordan found a Hot Wheels car she liked. Once again, my theory is proven that there's a tiny car for everyone. And if you're looking for a great place to find the car for you, the Market of Marion is a great place to start.
Whew, that was warm. Well, that was a lot of fun with Adam and Jordan. Again, thank you so much to them for coming along. But yeah, I'm going to cool off for a bit and celebrate a productive run. The only way a flea market in Florida should be celebrated with pork rinds. So we'll go back to the workbench and I'll show you what I found. Stick around. Well, that was fun, wasn't it, Adam?
Oh, a blast.
Yeah, so now you've been to flea markets before.
Absolutely. I grew up in Ohio, and there's like Flea Market Central.
Sure.
I've been to, like, if anyone who's familiar with Ohio flea markets, Turtle Creek, Caesars Creek flea markets. My parents, I grew up on that. They've taken me to flea markets and stuff. I think that's where actually I got my very first Flash figure from a flea market because I was watching the 90s Flash TV show.
Sure.
John Wesley Shipp.
Yes, and Mark Hamill.
And Mark Hamill, the trickster.
exactly. So he did reprise his role in the recent CW.
He did, actually, both of them.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah.
So the Market of Marion, you've seen me do haul videos from Market of Marion before. It's a very it's one of the larger setups in Central Florida. I think the first stop, I was shocked because I went to another flea market in Ocala, and Ocala's probably got like 5 flea markets. The I-75 one, and it was surprisingly dead. Like, I thought, I don't know if things are changing, and you can let me know in the comments below how things are at your local flea markets. But I was there I thought it was fairly late. I was there at like 8:45 and hung around until a little after 9:30, and they were still like just barely open. And then you go over to like Market of Marion, and it was popping. Like, it was busy. And so I don't know. I'm wondering if the Market of Marion's kind of winning some kind of ground war. Like, they're not close. Like, they are over half an hour apart. I learned as I was trying to race from the one to meet you at the other. Yeah. I was like, this is farther apart than I realized. But yeah, because Market of Marion's technically in Bellevue, which is kind of outside and south of Ocala, and for those of you who are drag racing fans, right next to Don Garlett's Museum of Drag Racing, which is a must visit if you're ever in the Central Florida area and you like drag racing. So it was a good haul.
Always check the bottom.
Yeah, always look low. That's the thing that I always say is look low first, because if you're a customizer, that's where the stuff that you're gonna want is at. So we're gonna go through them real quick here, and we'll show off what we found. You want to stick around and we'll go through them real quick?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so Adam is going to be my Vanna here. We're going to start with the no-namers. This is a Nissan 300ZX. It's a no-namer. Looks like it's based on the Yachtming casting. I really like this one as a good junkyard one. It's got a nice full interior. You've got nice door panel openings. It feels very realistic. Looks like it would be right at home in a garage scene or a junkyard scene. Kind of the same for this XKE. It's missing the windshield, but this would be cool in, a shop where it's being like stripped down to be worked on. So yeah, I really like the proportions on that casting. That one's pretty useful. This is another one over here, this Lotus, that I got recently. You may have seen this one during my live stream, but I picked up this one because it was 50 cents. And again, weird no name, but surprising amount of detail. Just really like the overall look of it. And got a few more no names. This one is the exact opposite of that. It's this mess of just a very blocky thing, and just feeds into my love of these really weird, awful, generic things. It's part AMC Matador, part Chevy Caprice. I don't know what to make of it, but every now and then. This one I got because I needed to get a third vehicle to make a deal. So
Fire Chief,
yes, very straightforward. And this one's another one that's fairly well detailed, but it's very clearly like this is definitely a junkyard scene car. BMW 5 Series, I think very clearly based on the Yachtming or maybe the Tamika of that time. But just looks perfect for a junkyard with the kind of dented in roof and the missing doors. I'm gonna wrap up the cheapy knockoffs with this Mercedes G-Wagon. It's clearly a knockoff of the Matchbox G-Wagon, but it's got a nice detailed interior. It's got a decent steering wheel, dashboard. So, I've got a few of those. They're just kind of a good filler vehicle if you need something that looks good in the background and is a good scale for a truck.
Holiday Club.
I don't know what that means. But probably neither do they. These three are part of the Valvoline series, and I always say the Valvoline series is funny because it's like they got the cars 75% right. Like this clearly a Stingray convertible. The 63, they got pretty close, but you look at that one and then you go to this Mustang that we had. Like, that one's pretty well proportioned. Then you get to the Mustang, and the Mustang is like a C- D+ on getting a Mustang, right? You got the weird bulge in the hood there. You've got just kind of a disproportioned fastback. It's almost there. They kind of got the 3 taillights hit it at, and the front grille is just like a Yeah, it's there. So this one's fun because it's not too often you come across an actual Tamika, made in Japan era Tamika, and this is based on like a late 40s. I believe it's a Datsun. Yeah, Datsun.
Datsun. We got Datsun here.
See,
nobody cares.
Yeah, that's Jurassic Park.
Rip might care.
Rip might care. Yeah. So yeah, that one's kind of fun. It's obviously really damaged, but the casting is solid, and that's what matters. This is one that I really like. I've been on this big Zilmix kick lately, and Zilmix was a Hong Kong brand, but every now and then they did pretty good. They did kind of lousy on the taillights for this one, I think, and sadly this one is missing the grille, but from the side this looks like a classic 70s Corolla. It's well proportioned, well scaled. That'll be a good another good junker car for a junkyard or a Gaslands build. All right, we're gonna move into the semis now. We got a few semis here. We're just gonna kind of push them all in at once here. We got this Mack truck I'm really interested in learning more about. Somebody in the comments, please tell me about it, because I cannot find a maker's mark on it anywhere. There's no brand on it, but it seems too nice. Other than it says Mack on it, so it was probably licensed, but there's no detail on the chassis to indicate what this vehicle was. But it's a great casting. It's pretty much exactly 1/64 scale. It's missing part of the exhaust pipe, but that doesn't really matter. Good opening hood. The plastic block that's the engine's not great, but again, if you're doing a closed hood build, that would be a great classic Mack. So ready to haul Lightning McQueen. This one is interesting. I think this one, the more I look at it, the more I'm thinking it's 1/87 scale, because it's all plastic. There's no diecast to it.
It's so light.
But the wheels and tires are like a synthetic rubber. Well, not the wheels, but the tires are a softer rubber. There's it's definitely got like a injected styrene feel to it. So this was probably a detail set for a train set or something, but it was super cheap and it's got a lot of good detail pieces. So I was like, I'll pick that up for $2.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So the Ford, I think this is a C900, C90, I think it's 900. That's a matchbox casting. It's a surprisingly well detailed one, way better than the Hot Wheels one that they have on the haulers recently. But nice detail on the top. The chassis is okay, but the front grille on this one really looks good. So that one's a good candidate for a build for sure. And then this one, we were talking about this one earlier. This old school Peterbilt look looks like straight out of T2. It looks like the semi that the T1000 is chasing them through the canal on with the motorcycle. So love this one. And what's really interesting is to make that scene, they actually shot that scene in reverse and had Robert Patrick sitting in the passenger seat with a fake steering wheel with a stunt driver wearing all black.
Yep.
So it looked like, and then they shot everything, and he even like his uniform and everything was reversed. So it looked like when they flipped the film, he was driving the vehicle. So that's why it looks so realistic when he's driving in those scenes, because he's actually sitting in the passenger seat while a stunt driver drives it.
Can we get like a little Robert Patrick in here?
Yeah, we can look on Thingiverse. I'm sure somebody's got a T1000 model we can use. All right, so now to move on to we got one more semi here. This one's fun. This one was definitely kid customized.
He may have kissed it.
We don't know. Kissed it. Yeah, I'm not going to judge, but definitely a Blackwall era semi truck. Another Peterbilt inspired one. I love finding kid customs because it means this vehicle was well loved, and and then I can kind of carry it on and continue the customization, but it's from that Blackwall era that I love, and so gonna move on to a couple of Ertls I found. These two, you got the stock car, the Folger stock car. That one was actually still in the plastic. The card had come off, but it was still in the plastic container, so that's why this one's in such good condition. So I picked that one up. They gave that one to me for $1, which is a great price for that one. Really good detailing on it. If we want to do a classic 80s stock car,
Was this the best part of waking up today?
Not quite. Getting to see you, I think, was the best part of waking up today. But I'm definitely not putting that car in my cup. This one's interesting. This is one of my favorite castings in general. It's an Erdl 1980 Pontiac Bonneville. They used it in the Smokey and the Bandit playset. They used it in the Dukes of Hazzard playset. Even though it is not accurate for either of those movies, it might. I think about it, I believe it's accurate to Smokey and the Bandit 2. He used an 80 Pontiac Bonneville in that one.
So Buford T. Justice may have driven this car?
Maybe. There's a high possibility of that. Although, this one might have been driven by one of his cousins that were also played by him at the end of that movie. As you recall, there were a bunch of different Bufords from different parts of the Smokey and the Bandit 2 is not a great movie, folks.
Just watch the original.
Just watch the original. Yeah. You know what's crazy is I saw a DVD set for Smokey and the Bandit, and it said, includes all 7 movies. And I was like, wait, what?
7?
Yeah.
I thought there was only 3.
Yeah, turns out there were 4 direct made-for-TV movies that are technically, I guess, canon. And I had no idea about any of them.
Apparently.
And I was... morbid curiosity almost made me buy this DVD, and I was like, no, there is no good to be gleaned from this. There's a reason you have not heard of these. As big a Smokey and the Bandit fan as you are, and I am. I literally have Bandit right here behind me as I work every day. He's on every Zoom call I have.
Well, apparently John Schneider made his own version of...
We don't talk about that.
Okay. Smokey and the Bandit. We watched a trailer to it.
John Schneider died after he left Smallville, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, technically he did die.
He did die. He died.
Spoiler alert.
Oof. But yeah.
If you haven't watched the show, if you haven't watched the show,
many years off the air for 10 years. Has it been 10 years?
It's been a long... it was 2011 when it ended.
Yeah, so 10 years this year.
Yeah, 10 years.
So, all right. Let's go to the Matchboxes. We got... this one's a Hot Wheels. We got this Matchbox, and we got this Matchbox, and we got this Matchbox. Right. So that is your classic ambulance. I think every kid growing up in the 80s had this ambulance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this one I got because it's got both the doors still. They both function. Yeah. Everything is 100% there on this car. It is very chipped up, but 100% there. And
it's solid, man.
It is solid. That is a metal car. And when I think of ambulances as a kid, this is what we had. That is exactly what we had. And you said your aunt drove one.
No, my mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law used to drive ambulances back in the day, and she still drives like she's driving one.
Yeah, she's got to get where she needs to go.
Yeah.
So, okay, next we got the Thunderbird. That one's a fun one. Wheels bent, but again, don't care.
Like the banana boat.
It is very banana yellow, but in beautiful condition. Otherwise, it's weird. It's like somebody bent the wheel and was like, you know what? I'm done with this one. I'm just going to put it on the shelf. So it looks like it was barely played with, if at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, great casting, great candidate for a rat rod or a Gaslands build. I think the aggressive lines on a 57 T-Bird are perfect for that sort of thing. So finally we got this, it's called a mini truck. It very much looks like a Jeep J10 or J20 to me.
Wow, look at that 4x4.
We're just doing all the Owen Wilson bits, aren't we?
No, that's a Back to the Future.
Oh, that's Back to the Future, yeah. Oh, yeah. You were just...
Wow. I probably said it in a very Owen Wilson tone.
I was like, is that a line from Wedding Crashers?
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, missing the wheel. Again, don't care. The big thing is the roll bar is intact. The windshield glass is in good shape. I was just watching a Jim Silva build and didn't realize he has a vacuum former, and I want to get a vacuum former in the worst way, because that's the one thing I can't replicate right now is glass. I know Paul Restorer does it with silicone molding, but it just seems so much quicker and cleaner to do it with a vacuum former, and that is the next tool on my list to get when I win the lottery.
Mountain Man.
Yep, that is a Mountain Man. So, all right, we're gonna close things out. We do have one more non-brand, but I'll get to that one in a minute. I'm holding that one to the end for reasons. So, you got this Ford Anglia, which you might recognize from episode 2. I glued the hood shut on it and made it into a beater shop truck. Just a great casting all around. Good casting to have a lot of. So pick them up when I can. And this one was 50 cents.
What do you think was on here before?
I've actually
Chipped away.
It is all chipped away. I think this is the same one as the one I started from, so you could actually go back and watch episode 2.
Gotcha. Watch episode 2.
Watch episode 2. And see how far we've come. It really is wild seeing some of the older stuff. I watched some of it the other day and I was like, wow, it really has gotten a lot better. This is the Montezuma. Other than the red glass, I really like this one. But, you got your classic low rider. I think that's the... is that the GMA body? Again, let me know in the comments, because I'm not an expert with 80s GM cars. I just know I really like the look, and that one's got the late 70s Monte Carlo look to it that I really dig.
So now, let me know this: is it missing something? Is it missing a
No.
Or is that
that one was the real car would have had a solid roof.
Yeah.
But the casting itself, they cut it to make it like a target top.
Okay.
So that is a customized thing, and they would have put this reinforcement in there to keep the body from flexing.
This looks like something Kenny Rogers would drive.
Yeah. Or Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. This is the Mercury Cyclone, just a great late 60s muscle car. Always good to have those in the collection, especially ones that have clear or smoked glass like this one. Just feels much more realistic. So whenever I find a good casting like that with smoked glass, I pick it up just because it's good to have. Next we got the one that Tracy picked up and said, oh, this is a soccer van. And yes, it is. It's got a soccer on it, but if you were in soccer practice in the 80s or 90s, you saw a lot of these. Goal! Yeah, so just a good casting all around, classic late 90s, early 2000s. My parents actually had a 2003 that looked just like this one. So
my mom drives a Dodge Caravan.
there you go.
Yeah.
So, and there's still plenty of them on the road today. They made like millions of them because there was every fleet you could think of used the Caravan. We got two things on the opposite end of the spectrum here. We got the Cadillac here, the 57 Cadillac. This is one of my favorite Hot Wheels castings. It's just a really well done casting. So I pick it up whenever I can just because it's really well proportioned. It's well detailed. It's got the classic GM X-frame on the bottom of it. You can see the stock pipes where they would be on an actual Cadillac. And just really like the detailing on this one. And again, clear lenses for the glass. So, great customization options there. And it's not already made into a lowrider or a custom. It's, straight up stock caddy, which I love that as a base vehicle to work from. Then kind of on the opposite side of the detail spectrum, you've got the 57 Chevy. This is based on a classic Redlines design. Of course, the Redline originally did not have the engine poking through it, but it did have the plastic base. This is one of the Redlines that did have a plastic base to it. No real detailing on it. This, of course, is the later Blackwall with the gold wheel era. These were the ones I had this one in maroon with the same tampos on it. I love the metal flake paint, although it's obviously seen better days. It's not a super detailed casting, but it's got a great grille on the front. I like the diecast engine, so that's useful for customizing. And
I like the metallic look.
Yeah, and sadly this one has kind of gone matte. It was very clearly sat in the sun, and the paint has kind of fouled. It's crazed a bit, but in surprisingly intact shape. But yeah, I like the metal flake paint on that one a lot. Finally, last one on the 164 Lucy's. We got this. This one was funny because I picked it up and I was so excited to see a super modified that I hadn't seen before that I handed it to Adam. And Adam is this huge Superman fan, so he looked at it. He thought, oh, Chuck's excited because it says Superman on it. And I was like, no, I'm excited because of this casting. And then later I was like, hey, it's got a Superman logo on it. And he's like, yeah, I know. That's
I thought that's why you showed it to me.
Yeah. And I was like, no. But this one, it's weird. It's Action Brand. And I got this one because it made me think of Jay over at Jay's Diecast Creations, because his family is into racing and they race these kinds of things. The more I hear about Jay, the more I think his family is basically the Torettos, but without the sad, tragic backstory.
I'm not seeing like a DC or a Warner Brothers.
You're right. This one's interesting. It just says Action on the bottom. Yeah. I'm not familiar with the Action castings. It's surprisingly detailed though, so somebody please leave in the comments if you know anything about this. It's got nice rubber tires with Hoosier on them, chrome rims. Like, it's detailed. Like, it's really nice.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know more about this casting because I'd like to find more of them because it's in such nice shape. The tampo work is gorgeous on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's really well done. Like, this one, it's multiple colors, multiple tampos, front, sides, and back. You know, and not a metal car, but still very detailed. Like, look at the back, especially. Like, check this back end out with the exhaust pipes and stuff on the back of the car. So tilt that, that end. You know, look at the detailing work around the exhaust pipes and well, not the exhaust pipes, but like the suspension and stuff back here. That is, let's turn it a little bit more that way. See, you know, you got that really fine detailing here. Like, that is something you don't see every day on castings at 1/64 scale. So very accurate casting.
Well, and you see, like, I mean, they also have, like, the cage.
The cage is there. Like, the cage is a full cage. It's not a simulated cage. Like, it's actually there inside, covering the ceiling area. The real branded products. So again, I'm very curious to learn more about that one.
Yeah, like, was this an actual car?
Yeah, I don't know, because
please, if anyone knows this in the comments,
we are very curious. And finally, before we get to the carded ones, this one's just goofy. It's a Tootsie Toy K-Car. We were talking about how everybody's family growing up, you either had these or you had like the Novas or the whatevers of the time, but most people had the K-Car because they were just so plentiful and dirt cheap, especially on the used car market. I think we got ours for like $400.
Yeah, my family, we had a K-Car.
Yeah, and it was straight too. It had air conditioning, AM radio only. So yeah.
Does anyone remember the smell of the K-Car?
Yeah, we were talking about this too. The Chryslers of that era just had this. I don't know what it was, that off gas that the foam in the headliner had. It did not smell great. Ugh. Especially after a few years.
Especially when you want that new car smell and you just smell like vomit.
Yeah, it was kind of it was a very acrid, potent smell.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we're going to get to the carded ones. We're going to start off with these three beauties. These are Racing Champions. Racing Champions of this era tend to be a little bigger than 1/64, but they're still very cool. This GTO I really like because it's got the side mirror on it. It's got accurate wheels. It's got an opening hood. You know, you got your rubber tires. And again, I got this for $3 each. So really good deal on these. Like, this is actually, you know, cheaper than they would have been new. So they have, if anything, lost value over time, which is interesting. This is Corvair I really like. I didn't know that they did a Corvair. And again, you know, if you look past the livery, which it's kind of weird that they did this with I mean, it was cool at the time. I remember thinking it was very cool at the time as a kid, but now it's just kind of confusing.
You see that the engine's in the back?
Yep, the engine's in the back. Yep. So people used to take the flat sixes out of these and put them in Volkswagens because it was so much more powerful. And you could actually get these with a turbo, believe it or not, in the 1960s. And they were quite peppy with the turbo.
And apparently this was a cereal car.
Yeah, it was a cereal car. Well,
Kellogg's.
Yeah, there's a lot of Kellogg's.
Fruit Loops.
That was the old Terry Labonte car.
Yeah.
So that one's cool, and it's interesting because again they didn't do anything other than paint to make these look like racing vehicles. There's no roll cages. There's no, you know, they are.
Yeah.
Stock rods, emphasis on stock. And that's really true in this next one. You know, you've got your white wall tires. It's very rare you see a 30s Ford with the engine covers still intact. You've got the full bumpers. You've got the spare tire on the back. And there's a full-scale spare tire on the back with the matching wheels, the white walls, the engine. A very nice casting. Great candidate for a barn find build, for sure. Very nicely detailed. So that was a really nice find. So, all right, we're going to move on to some other finds here. And we got one. Oh, we got two. Of the Michael Rooker car from Days of Thunder, the Exxon 51 car. Still on the card. These are Matchbox branded. It's very cool. They've got an offer for a poster on the back of them.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Can we cash in?
Can we cash in? What does it say?
Let's see. It's good through May 31st, 1991.
Missed it by just 30 years. So close.
Man, but yeah, look at all the other ones that they
Yeah,
offer.
that's very cool. And it's interesting because Days of Thunder was really everywhere when it came to the toy car scene. Like, I know that there were Matchbox versions of it. I think there were Hot Wheels versions of it. There were definitely off-brand versions of the cars as well. But I remember them being super popular as, because I was about 9 when the movie came out.
I love the movie.
So the movie is great.
Yeah, I mean, if you like Talladega Nights, I mean, this is basically the movie that
Inspired
made
that. Yeah. So,
and they both have John C. Reilly in it.
yeah. Speaking of other kind of premiums, we got 1, we got 2, we got 2.5. No, we got 3.
Hey!
Matchbox premium collections that I got for $2 each. Yes, $2 each. I am shocked at this. Those are metal rubber tire cars. Very well detailed, 1 of 25,000 each of these. And again, I don't think these sold new for $2. So this one has actually lost value over time somehow. I know that's not true, because if you go on eBay, these are considerably more expensive than that. But heck, for $2, I'll buy them. They're worth it just for the wheels for me. But yeah, these are beautifully detailed. The Jaguar, the BMW, and the Mercedes, all with white walls or raised white letter tires, which again is kind of funny to think of a Mercedes convertible with raised white letter Goodyear Eagles on it. But hey, if you got money, it doesn't mean that you have to conform to what you should put on a Mercedes. Mm-hmm. So those 3 are very, very cool. There's another Racing Champions over here, this custom 49 Buick. Again, a little more custom than I would prefer, but I don't mind it. It's a good candidate for a rat rod build, and I don't know, I just dug it, and it was $3. Yeah, $3. So why not for another car with rubber wheels? I'll pay that much for a decent set of tires. So yeah, that's a good find. Yeah, so we are going to pardon the noises here as we get into the home stretch.
So many things. It was a really great day at the flea market. Yeah. And as you know, a bad day at the flea market is better than a good day at, I don't know, fishing. I don't know. We got a couple of Matchboxes here. These are good finds. The 69 Cadillac I really like, because it's just a really nice casting, and it's a four-door car, which is kind of rare to find in the 1960s cars, like, especially if it's not a police vehicle. So I picked that one up when I can, even though it's a little smaller than 1/64th scale, but it's just a good-looking casting. I don't know why it's not in its seat properly. It got jostled loose somewhere along the way. And this old school... this was actually, I think, a 70s or 80s casting. This would have been one of the later iterations of it. The Dunes Racer, I think it's based on an old Toyota pickup. Definitely an older Japanese vehicle, and it's spooky looking.
Spooky for Halloween. You got blood and bats.
Blood and bats.
And, the red on that, I think, like I mentioned when we were talking earlier, Jim Silva has a vacuformer, and I really want to get one so I can make clear glass for these ones that have the weird red lenses on them. But oh well, that's no problem for future me. But yes, it's spooky for Halloween. Speaking of spooky for Halloween, we got this pumpkin orange 62 VW Beetle. This is one of my favorite castings. You might have seen my test footage when I was just starting my channel. I made a Herbie from Herbie Goes Bananas using this casting. It's a great casting, so I pick it up any chance I can get, just because it's a very accurate one, and I just like the proportions. It's the closest I've seen so far to an accurate Herbie era casting. And so I picked that one up whenever.
We also saw another Beetle.
That's right.
The Footloose.
The Footloose one from Hot Wheels.
That Kevin Bacon drove.
Yeah, and I didn't buy that one because he wanted $15 for it, and I've already got that casting in other formats. I love Hollywood castings. I have a whole display, and I'm going to do a whole video of all my Hollywood castings, but I'm not going to spend $15 for a casting I already have for a movie that, it's fine. It's a great movie.
Oh, I love Footloose, but
it's not a movie known for its cars.
No.
So,
it's known for its dancing.
It's known for its dancing. So we're going to save the Hot Wheels for last. First, we got the Johnny Lightnings left to go. We got these two lovely 78 International Scout 2s that I got for $5 each. This guy was selling Johnny Lightnings for $5 each on the card, which is a really good price, I think. And I don't have any of the International Scouts, so I picked those up. Just a great casting all around. It's interesting. You never see Johnny Lightnings anymore where it just has like Johnny Lightning on it. Like it's always got to have some kind of
Johnny Lightning
theme, you know. So like this one here. This is another casting that I didn't realize they had. It's a VW thing, but it's a very weird one because it's almost got like a clown car proportion to it. And I was just intrigued by it. And he wanted $10 for it. Ray gave it to me for $5. And I don't know anything about this other than it says it's one of 12,000. And yeah, so if anybody knows anything about that casting, let me know, because that one's a curious one. And finally, out of the Johnny Lightnings, we got this one, which is one that I've wanted to get for a while. Ooh, hey. And again, he gave it to me for $5 instead of the price that's on there. But this is a 74 Olds 442, and you got the lovely Miss Linda Vaughn on the card in the background here. She would have been riding around in these things promoting the Hearst shifters at drag races and NASCAR events and such. So, I don't know if she actually went to stock car events. She was usually at drag racing. But, yeah, great casting. Again, a little on the small side because Johnny Lightning tends to run small, where Racing Champions runs large. But, yeah, nice Malaise era casting. So, happy to pick that one up. And we're going to wrap things up with the Hot Wheels. We'll start with the odd ones and work our way up. Again, all of these were $1 each, which, some of these are older. The Heat Fleet series car, I just kind of like it. It's a weird fantasy casting. It's kind of Audi-ish based, but it's got nice headlamps on it. It's fun. I like it. And that's really all that you need to justify it, is if it's fun and it makes you happy. The Thunderstreak isn't really one of my favorite castings, but for $1, I'll buy it because it's got perfect black wall wheels on it, and those are useful if I'm doing a black wall restoration. And speaking of black walls, this was another one I got for $1. Your classic blue card Chevy Stalker. I believe this is the one that's still metal. At least the body is metal on it. Yeah, the base is metal too, so that's a metal car. Later editions of it had a plastic top, which is weird. But so really happy to pick that one up. It's got the number 3 on it. It's kind of a tie back to the old Torino Stalker. Just a nice casting to have. And finally, this Peugeot 405, classic French sports sedan. Peugeot, mamma mia. No, it's Italian. No, it's French. Yes. But yeah, this is kind of one of the last of the really interesting, when they were doing interesting stuff with like still doing lensed headlamps on a Hot Wheels car. There's not too many lensed headlamp Hot Wheels cars anymore, especially in the mainline series. So if you can think of any, let me know in the comments if I'm forgetting any. And finally, this one was a really nice find. Your classic stock minivan. If you didn't have a Caravan or a K car growing up, you probably had one of these, or an Aerostar, or an Astro. But yeah, the Luminas and the Aerostars kind of looked like they came from outer space. I remember the Aerostar. They legitimately did ads with characters from Star Trek and comparing it to the space shuttle, and and this one too. They call it the nickname for these. We called them Dustbusters growing up because they look like the little vacuum cleaners. Yeah.
But my uncle, and his he had the Jeep van, and had the engine in the middle, and where usually your console or something would be.
The Jeep van.
Yeah, I think it was a Jeep. Pretty sure.
Okay. I know Toyota had one that was mid-engined.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
Toyota. Sorry.
I was gonna say Jeep. I don't think had a van. Corvair had a van, but Toyota had one, and that was one of the few ways you could get a supercharged mid-engine Japanese vehicle in the 90s in the U.S. It actually had a supercharger.
Well, because he works for a Japanese company.
Yeah. So there you go. So that was the Toyota. Those were cool too. They were very round, very aerodynamic. The Previas, really interesting back in the day. So so that was our haul from the trip. We're gonna go back here to the full screen, and that was really fun. It was a delight as always to see Adam and Jordan. Thank you so much for coming along with me for the ride. Yeah. So they actually did come along with me for the ride. So and thank you. of course, as well for coming along with me for the ride. So, Adam, until next time,
Stay fresh, cheese bags.
I love it. We'll see you later.